The Public Lands Council names Kaitlynn Glover as its executive director, serving as the chief lobbyist representing 22,000 ranchers who raise cattle and sheep on federal land. And she joins us now to speak about the new role. Thanks so much for joining us, Kaitlynn. Congratulations to you. And let's start with some background on yourself and your time in the industry.
Sure. Well, it's such a privilege to join you this morning, Christina, and it is even a greater privilege to join the Public Lands Council and the cattlemen here in Washington. For the last several years, I served as a policy advisor in the Senate. I worked for John Barrasso, a senator from Wyoming. And in that role, I covered the agriculture, natural resources, and tribal portfolio. So I'm very familiar with the issues coming into this job, and I am really excited to have a larger footprint across our western states.
That's wonderful. Public Lands Council, is this something that you've always aspired to achieve, this new role? And as you move into it, tell us about your main objectives.
Absolutely. So the Public Lands Council and the ranchers and the resources we represent are critical to my heritage and my upbringing in Wyoming. Public lands are part of the everyday life of ranchers and thousands, millions of other people across the West. The Public Lands Council represents grazers, but we also interact with other users of public lands, recreationalists, and many, many others. We work for the health of the resource, and in that way, we all want the same thing. We want healthy natural resources. So as I step into this role, I'm very excited to talk about all of the good things that public lands ranchers do for the resource, all of the things they cultivate, like decreased wildfire risk and managing invasive species and the great wildlife habitat, and also build on coalitions and relationships with other groups who find these public lands so important to their perspectives as well.
It's beautiful to hear that you have so much passion for what you're doing in this new role as executive director. What would you say to those who care about the Public Lands Council, who are listening right now, to get them excited about what you're doing in 2020?
Well, what I'd say to them is, and what I have said as I've gone through this transition, is that I am incredibly privileged to be able to work for and with the volunteers who give their time and who are so passionate, share my passion for these lands and for these landscapes. There are so many issues that affect this portfolio, and each of these individuals gives of their time, not only as producers, but they serve on school boards and they serve in so many capacities across their communities. I know what the values are, and I share those values, and as these issues arise, I look forward to being available to them and fighting for what we all believe in, for a better future and for healthy resources.
I love it. You're out there protecting God's country. Thank you so much for joining us. Public Lands Council Executive Director Kaitlynn Glover, really appreciate your time. Stay with us.